I guess why don't we go ahead and get started? Start first, introductions. I'm Barry Pepper, VP of Customer Experience here at PushPress. I'm sorry you get to see and listen to me today instead of Gavin that you were waiting for, and everybody came to see Gavin and listen to Gavin's sultry webinar voice. Our guest today that we have on the webinar is Matt Albrizio from Forever Fierce, and we brought Matt in to talk to us about maximizing your profitability in apparel. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to turn this thing over to Matt. If you have any questions throughout the webinar, just go ahead and put those in the Q&A, the question and answer section. We'll try and answer them either just typing them out, or at the end of it, when Matt's done, we'll go through and answer some of the questions live for you. Matt, it's all yours.
Alrighty, sounds good. I'm just sharing my screen here. Can everyone hear me and see my screen? We good on our end, Barry?
Thumbs up on our end. I got you.
All right. Sounds good. So in this webinar, first off, I want to say thank you to PushPress for having me. We've been partnered with PushPress for about a year and a half, 2 years. And, everyone from Dan on down has been super accommodating to us. So I just want to say thank you to PushPress to start off. But in this webinar, I really want to talk about and answer this question once and for all: is apparel worth your time? So there's a lot of different ways to chop up that answer, but it's not just about who's the cheapest vendor. You're running a professional gym. Your gym is more than a hobby club at this point. The people who are on this webinar have professional businesses, and this isn't just like a lifting club in their backyard. So we can't just keep working with the cheapest possible vendor. We need to look at this question a more effective way. Is this worth our time? And the only way to figure that out is to really figure out what your effective hourly rate is, and if your current vendor is 10 to 20xing your effective hourly rate. So I'm going to jump into it right here, and let's just talk about the formula real fast. So if you don't know what your effective hourly rate is, it's simply what you earn per hour based on the profit and time spent on a particular task. And if you know what this number is, it can provide a lot of clarity moving forward in your business about what you should be doing yourself or what you should be outsourcing. So let's figure out how to get to that number first. So here's just a really quick formula. So it's going to be hours you work in a week. And I always tell people, just be honest about this. There's some gym mentor businesses that will have you do a time audit. How many hours a week are you really working on your business? So we can conservatively say, let's just say 40, right? It's a nice round number. Everyone knows that. But if you know your hours, like, hey, I'm really only time on task working on this business 30 hours a week, put 30. We're going to times that by 52 weeks in a year, and we're going to divide that number by your take-home pay. Now, I know a lot of people can look at profitability in a bunch of different ways, like what assets do you have, things like that. But for this exercise, let's just go with a very easy number: your take-home pay. So everyone knows what that number is. And here's just an example. So 40 hours times 52 weeks in a year equals 2,080. Your take-home pay, let's just say it's $100,000. If that is the case, then your effective hourly rate is $48 an hour. So if you want to conservatively estimate and you're not making $100,000, we can say it's $45 an hour. But my overarching theory on this stuff is, if apparel is worth your time, you're doing 10 to 20x that number. So if you're going to do an apparel order with the profit generated and the time invested in that process, you should be making $500 to $1,000 an hour. And if you're asking me, those numbers sound insane, how do you get there? I'm going to show you that in a second. But one thing we need to do before we start talking about working with an experienced vendor who can help you get in these projects efficiently and effectively, and it can really save you a ton of time with this stuff, is we need to talk about the 4 steps to every apparel order. So in terms of step number 1, we will always start with the design process. And for us, we offer templates, best sellers, and a custom design option as well. Now, I'm doing a course for PushPress where I'm going to do a super deep dive into this 4-step process, but with the quick overview, templates and bestsellers will save you a lot of time. Sometimes I'll jump on a phone call with a new client and they'll say, I don't know what to design. I know I have to put stuff out there, but being creative isn't really my thing. Can you show me a bunch of design ideas and I'll pick from them? we have a bunch of those for gym owners to pick from. We have hundreds of them, depending on the time, the season, what you're looking for. We probably have a template for it. If you prefer something that's a little bit more original and unique to you, or hey, it's a unique event we're doing, can you work on a custom idea? It's no big deal. We're happy to work on a custom design idea for you. And there's no fees when you work with us. So there's no design fee. You're not being charged by the edit. But in terms of starting a project, the design process is always step number one. Edits are totally fine. You know, some people, you got to think these are new relationships you're building with people, but I encourage you to let the vendor make the edits. Let us make the edits. Don't tinker around in Canva or like mess around in Photoshop on yourself. Let us do all that stuff for you. And I think my main message too with this process is open up to letting yourself be served. You know, I think at this, I can speak for myself, but I know it's really hard to get good service these days. It's really hard to get people on the phone. It's really hard to get people to respond to you. And I know it can be a little jarring to work with someone who's like, yeah, I'm going to handle all this for you. And it could be more of like just letting go a little bit. So I would say let go, let us handle as much of this process for you and take as much of this stuff off your plate. Now, step two, I do send samples to the gym ahead of time. And as of this recording, we are the only vendor who will send you samples for free. Every other vendor that I do secret shopping, I do reach out to other vendors and pretend I'm a gym owner because I like to see what other apparel vendors do. I like to see what the local guy does. And every time we get to the samples part, it's no problem, but here's the fee, or here's a link, you could buy it off Amazon, or here's the garment catalog and it's about as thick as an old phone book. You know, for us, I'm going to send you a more detailed catalog that has, look, here's exactly what people are expecting to buy in a gym today. And I do have a lot more focused garment catalog to send you rather than just throwing a phone book at you. But the samples, it will eliminate a lot of the how does it fit, how does it feel. It will eliminate the call at the end of the order where someone will call me and say, why didn't you tell me it fit like this? It's like all that stuff is, we can definitely get ahead of all those issues if we send samples ahead of time. And a secret stat that most people don't know is that members are more likely to buy if they just touch or feel apparel. And I'm just talking, just doing this, just touching the shirt, rubbing it between their fingers, not even trying it on. So 70% more likely to buy. So if you do get the samples, don't just throw them in the back of your car and say, yeah, I like this. It's bring it to the gym, show people how it fits and feels, and it will definitely help with step number 3. And that's the pre-order. Now, most of you are doing a pre-order in some aspect for something, whether it's supplements, apparel, other retail items, but I assume when I work with a client that you have a $0 budget and the only money you're going to be able to pay me is what you make profit-wise from selling these t-shirts. So t-shirts, tank tops, I use the term interchangeably, but basically we're going to keep the order open for a week and we're going to tell people, hey, everyone, we're running a pre-order for our fall package. You have until Friday at 11:59 to order. I'll be running your card throughout the week and collecting payment, and I'll let you guys know when the apparel order gets here. That's a quick overview of the pre-order. I do an extreme deep dive on the pre-order in other content I have. So for the course I'm building, this section is actually going to be about 30 minutes long because it's important that you understand all the little ins and outs of the pre-order and how we can handle it for you and structure it so it's a lot more effective, because there's a difference between saying new fall merchandise available and there's a new fall limited edition package available for you guys. There's a $5 discount until Friday at 11:59 p.m. I have samples at the front desk. And if you do pre-order this, I'm going to give you my recipe book that has 5 high-protein breakfast, quick breakfast ideas. And this PDF will only be released to those who pre-order this apparel. Those are 2 different things, right? So I want to show you how to craft an offer that's going to really work for your folks and stuff they're going to respond to. And I recommend when you do a pre-order, you take up the vendor on doing the pre-order for you. So like we offer online stores for people. It's very hands-off for the gym owner. I would recommend passing this off to the vendor doing it. And then I just want you to be responsible for marketing it. You know how to get the message out to your folks, but I don't want to have to turn you into the order collector as well, because that can get chaotic. So We'll talk a little bit more about the pre-order in a sec. And the last part is production. Our turnaround time is only 2 weeks. If you have a vendor that's going longer than 2 weeks, you should be asking them what's up. Like I just got off the phone with a client last week in Dallas, and they said they placed an order in March and they just got it last week. And it's like, that's on them for not following up and being insistent about things. But I think there's only so much time to devote to this stuff. Like everyone's got so much stuff going on. You just need to know that this stuff is going to get in hands pretty quickly. So I do like to stick to that 2 week turnaround time. Now here's where we start breaking down the time. Okay. So jumping back into the different phases of this process, the design phase will take about 30 to 45 minutes. And it's not going to be 30 to 45 minutes every time you open an email from me. It's just simply the total time it takes to get the design from nothing to you having a bunch of mock-ups that you could share with people. And what that might look like is you get a mock-up from us, and then it's show it to me on a women's crop top, change the ink color, incorporate our city and state, put our logo on the back. Whatever the edits are, it's fine. But it's totally normal. It's a new relationship. And most of these projects go probably 2 to 5 rounds of revisions, and it's normal. I'm going to get you these mock-ups back either same day or next day. So we're moving forward. One helpful hint is avoid voting. Now, I know we like to run a democratic process where it's like, I just want buy-in and I just want the members to vote for something and they're going to buy it. So let them vote on it. But if you let them vote on it, basically you're creating a culture of winners and losers, and the people who don't win the vote will not buy that design because they were a part of the losing crowd. So if you really need input and you have like choice paralysis and you're like, I have no idea what to offer, I really need help with this, I would say create a small mini committee. Maybe you, a head coach, your spouse, if you want to bring them in, if they're interested in it, but don't do the whole like, hey, I need 300 people to vote on this. It's going to cause too much chaos. And finally, if you really don't know what to design, I will always tell people, trust the templates and the bestsellers we're putting out there. We've been doing this for 15 years. We've sold millions of t-shirts to fitness clients. Trust the templates. They've sold hundreds of thousands of times, and I guarantee you're going to have success with some. And even if they don't work out, we need to work on a custom idea for you. Again, at least we have that data point, so you don't have to agonize over these designs moving forward. The second step, samples. This is really quick. Just receive it, open the box, and simply make a quick post that sizing samples are available at the front desk. So again, it's really quick. Do you like them? Yes or no? And one other helpful hint I like to tell people about garments, just be honest about the garments you're offering. Like if you're, young 30s, late 20s, and you're offering skimpy crop tops, or, you're in like super aggressive tie-dye, maybe your middle-aged people might not be into that. So like, just be honest about what you're offering so that you're making it easy for people to buy. A very good formula for variety and choice and samples is one light option, one dark garment color option, and then something unique like the crop top or the tie-dye item or something that's a little bit more fashion forward. That's going to appeal to everyone. And you're not going to appeal to every single person in the gym on every single order, but over the course of a year, if we do 3 to 5 orders, we will. So just have some peace knowing we will appeal to everyone in the gym over time. Now, the pre-order process is where we are going to save you a tremendous amount of time. We have templates, guides, game plans, best practices, marketing checklists. If you have to come up with your own pre-order system on your own, the chances are you're going to make a mistake. You're going to learn a lot of hard lessons about, how to structure it, how to organize it. So that's why I recommend working with someone who can just say, look, here's your pre-order packet. Here's your game plan of stuff you need to do. Launch it. Just here's where to post, when to post, how to say it, when to say it, how to get your staff on board. This is going to save you a tremendous amount of time. Each of you can just simply schedule these posts ahead of time, automate this stuff in whatever service you're using, whether it's email, PushPress, Facebook, Instagram, whatever. All this stuff can be easily scheduled ahead of time too. And if it's time on task and you're really working and staying on track, again, this should really only take you 5 to 30 minutes to do. I recommend limiting the pre-order to 7 days. Sometimes I'll have people who say, let's do it for 4 weeks. And it's like, What you're really doing is saying, let me hit it hard. Monday, Tuesday, it's open, and then Thursday, Friday on the last day. And it's like all that time in between is a waste. Just, I'd rather see intensity and focus over length of time being open. And finally, offer an incentive. I'm going to talk about incentives a little bit later in the presentation, but don't just say fall package available. There's too many people offering apparel right now. You need to do some type of incentive to get people to buy. And if we are collecting the pre-order for you, confirming the order should only take 5 or 10 minutes. Simply let me know, do you want any extras? Do you want a little inventory for the gym and stragglers? And should be pretty quick. Now, in terms of the time estimate, here's a time estimate of working with us on these projects. So the high-end estimate is about an hour and a half. If you're really maxing out each phase of the design of the process, this will take about 90 minutes all in. I have some clients who can get this stuff done and scheduled and rolling in less than 45 minutes. So it's very quick for them to get this done. Let's say you're making $750 profit per order. You do 4 orders for the year. That equals $3,000. Again, that's net profit. And so here's how we break out your effective hourly rate. 3,000 divided by 6 hours. So 1.5 times 4 equals 6. That's $500 per hour. And again, if you can get this scheduled and be really efficient with this, you could be making $1,000 an hour by only investing 30 to 40 minutes of your time doing this. So keep those numbers in mind, because I have to juxtapose this with something. And I've given this presentation to a couple people, and they said, just be mindful of the way you're talking, because people are going to think you're bashing local businesses. And obviously, we're all local businesses and small businesses. This is not a conglomerate multinational corporation. This is a family business here. So we are local to we are all local to somewhere with this stuff. But when I jump on thousands of calls over the course of doing this, and people tell me the same stories over and over again, these type of parts of the design process or the t-shirt process will just come up over and over again. So if you work with a local guy or someone who does not focus on the fitness industry, all of these phases are going to take significantly longer. And number one is the design phase. If you work with a local guy or other vendors, they're going to ask you to come to them with artwork, with a vision. And basically that's going to require you to, and again, this will always come back to you. You can pass this off to whoever you want and delegate this out. At the end of the day, if this doesn't get done, it's up to you to do the research. It's up to you to tinker on Canva, do your own design. And that's where I recommend, again, working with someone who specializes in this, who has templates, because you can waste 2 to 3 hours easy doing research, ripping off someone else's design, designing your own stuff. It's a waste of time. The other issue too, where people get bogged down in the design phase, is slow communication. Again, we've all been there where we just need a quick answer. I just need to get this going, and I don't have 5 days to wait for a basic edit. So the design phase will take you significantly longer. Step 2, receiving samples. This will take longer, because if you have to do your own research on garments, what people are using, the brands available for wholesaling, that's a full-time job. It's going to take you a lot of time, and you might pick wrong. I've had clients who say, give me the catalog, let me pick something out. And unfortunately, like these modeling pictures, they look good, but when you get it in person, it's not what you were hoping for. So that's why we've sorted through everything. We want to take that off your plate and eliminate any risk on your end for that stuff. And the pre-order process, again, if you have a lack of a game plan and a strategy, apparel is one of those things where it's like, okay, we got the design set. Now, how do I sell this? And it could be really frustrating to have to learn how to sell something, marketing it. You really just need to work with someone who has that marketing direction and plan. One other thing that people have run into is they get sucked in with web stores and like, oh, this web store looks cool, and there's a web store hosting fee. And most of the time when I do an audit of like their billing, where it's like, how many shirts have you sold for the year? What did you pay in hosting fees? And it's like, okay, you paid way more in hosting fees than you sold shirt-wise. That's not a good idea. So when you do work with a vendor who offers web stores or any type of pre-order assistant, make sure there's no fee. When you work with us, there's no fee for the web store or anything like that. So just be cognizant of that. Finally, confirming the order. This will take a lot of time if you don't have confidence with your pre-order process. Now, the issue is like, I see gym owners where, and I don't want to say it's all business owners, but they'll say, leave a comment in the Facebook feed if you'd like your size, like leave your size in the comments. And they'll do that on Facebook, on Instagram, they'll do it on email, they'll do it anywhere that they can get a hold of members. And then it turns into 5 separate pre-orders. And inevitably, you're going to miss someone. Someone's going to yell their order to you as they're running out the door to go get their kids and pick them up. And it's going to hit you like when you're in the shower, or like you're cooking dinner, or you're trying to go to bed and you realize the apparel order is supposed to be there tomorrow, but you forgot Susie's tank top. And now it's a big deal. And it's going to all be your fault because there's no one else to blame. You just didn't have a good system for the pre-order, and it was kind of all left on you. And that sucks. But like I said, offload this to a vendor when possible so they can take stuff off your plate. One other issue that we see too, I mean, we were talking to Alan when he got into the chat, but he was saying like his current vendor, it takes like 4 to 6 weeks to get things done. That's way too long. You know, like you should be working with a vendor who can get an order out to you within 7 to 10 business days. That's standard for a professional screen print business. And avoid the whole like my cousin's high school roommate, brother, sister, cousin does t-shirts in the garage. They want to give you a sweet deal, dude. You will not there. Everyone will always think they are doing you a favor. So try and avoid family members, friends, friends of a friend doing orders, and you'll be much better off. Now, time estimates for the local guy. And again, if you add up all those hours, this is going to take you 10 hours all in time on task. Low end estimate, 6 hours. So it's significantly more time invested. And even if I want to concede that, yeah, you're getting a sweet deal, you're making a little bit more per order, you're still doing 4 orders for the year, $4,000 in profit. The high end estimate is only about $100 per hour. So you're only like 2.5xing your effective hourly rate, and the low end estimate, 166 per hour. That's about a 4x, a little less than a 4x of your effective hourly rate. So like I said, is apparel worth your time? Really comes down to, are you being efficient with this process? If you want to spend 40 hours a year doing apparel, and I mean, you could definitely do it to make an extra $1,000, but it's not worth your time. That's really the question it comes down to. So again, not everyone has these nightmare scenarios, right? So I want to be clear on that, but when I do talk to people, this seems to be the norm. I'll answer these questions in a second, but price points for common items. Now, this is always a situation where I always feel that gym owners tend to underprice themselves in the market. Now, if you look at Rogue Fitness, Mayhem, Strong New York, these brands are what people are buying apparel from. If people are just going online and buying apparel, they are paying $32 to $40 per t-shirt. And gym owners, their local gyms only charging $20. And it's like, you shouldn't be doing that. You should be charging at least $28 for tees and tanks, $55 for hoodies, and $33 for long sleeves. So this, I would say, honestly, this is fair pricing. And even just adjusting your pricing up by $3 to $5 an item, it's a significant difference profit-wise at the end of the year. And you have to realize too, members are not price shopping your apparel. They're not looking for, they're not super price sensitive to it. At the end of the day, they just want to support you. They want to feel like they're part of a team. They want to feel like they're part of a community. This isn't about like, oh, I'm saving $2 here. You know what I'm saying? Like, they just want an opportunity to support you. And I find that people will wear your merch inside the gym, outside the gym, to the grocery store, to a kid's Little League game, but you got to be consistent with it. And you have to give them an opportunity to buy it. Now, 3 secrets to more merch sales. Now, I slipped this slide in last minute here, but basically, if you're not sure, like, look, I just need like 3 good tips to just sell more stuff. What can I do today? And this is no cost. There's no extra fee for this. But number 1 is have a plan. And we like to set our clients up on an apparel plan. It will keep you on track when life gets busy. We're all in the same age bracket where we have young kids, or we have kids who are, in middle school, high school. Like, life just gets busy when you have to start running a family, running a business, and the gym starts growing. It's like, there's so much stuff going on. And I just hear from so many gym owners this one phrase: I would sell so much more merch if just someone would take the bull by the horns. And you've seen this in your business when someone comes on and does nutrition coaching or does a barbell club and they're all in on it, the programs grow, it's profitable, it's just something that's a nice little bonus add on to the gym. Well, I can be that guy for t-shirts. There's no contract, there's no obligation, you don't get locked into anything. So again, if life does happen, you need to skip an order, whatever, but having 3 to 6 projects on the calendar and at least just giving you the option just to hit those projects in a proactive approach is way better than just saying, I'll run an apparel order when I see the guy across the street do one. It's like that's not a winning strategy. But clients on an apparel plan sell 30% more apparel for the year than those who don't. And this is scaled all the way from when there was only 15 of y'all on a plan, and now it's scaled to now that there's hundreds of people on an apparel plan. So that stat has been very consistent. The other thing to do to just alleviate yourselves from this concern is like, what do I do with stragglers? Like we have those people who come up to us after the pre-order and say, now I want one. And it's like, view everything as a limited edition mindset and just be at peace with it. And just go into all these orders knowing this is the only time we're running this design. I'm not reordering this. Please pre-order it if you want an obscure color or size, or you want to guarantee it. I won't have any extras left over. Even if you plan on buying inventory and having extras, tell people you won't, okay? And you'll be much better off with this. But it will also create urgency. If you're having to constantly go backwards, like the order gets delivered and then you message me and say, well, now I need to place another order for some stragglers. It's like you're going backwards. You're investing more time into this, and I want to get you in and out of this process as quick as possible. The final thing, like I talked about with incentives, a lot of fitness businesses are not doing incentives with apparel. So this is something where, again, if you're looking to be competitive and looking to sell more stuff, you can offer some very easy incentives to get people to buy. And there are 4 main types of incentives, and I want to share them with you real quick. So the first one's pricing. And you might be saying, you just told me to list this at a premium price point. I'm not discounting this. And it's like, I'm not telling you to discount it. Okay. So we're not going to discount off the pricing I listed. We're going to discount based off of the super premium price. So tell people, hey, the pre-order is priced at $28 a tank, a tier tank. If you buy my inventory when it comes in, it's going to be $35. And let people make a choice, and just be firm with that pricing, and people will take advantage of the savings if that's important to them. The other type of incentive is time. Only put 5 to 7 days on these orders, and I guarantee you'll sell just as much or more than if you left it open for 28 days. The people who are buying merch in your gym are cycling through within 5 to 7 days. It's not the one person who shows up every 3 months. So consider offering a tight timeline for this. Another incentive, samples. Again, I talked about the importance of samples. Make sure you have something for people to touch, feel, try on, and that can really get people over the edge to make a purchase. And finally, something we're experimenting with and encouraging our clients to do is special benefits. If you order right now, you get the recipe book I mentioned. If you order now, you get a mobility protocol that you can do on the weekends, or just something that's easy where it's not like, look, I'm not telling you give away personal training for a whole year or something crazy, but a free guide that, again, is easy for you to come up with sitting there in an afternoon, but provides a lot of value to members. So you know exactly what that can be and get creative with it. And every gym is different. If I had a silver bullet, I'd fire it every day for you, but you need to experiment a little bit to find what people like and enjoy and respond to best about the incentives, the designs, the garments. And that takes time, but if you work with a vendor who can sort of help you narrow that down and provide clarity, that's what's going to get you in and out of these projects quickly. And again, I know apparel is not at the top of mind with all this stuff, but it's one of those things where if you don't do it, people ask you about it and it builds up and it creates anxiety. So it's like, just work with someone who's going to take the ball, run with it, and really be the catalyst to getting this stuff in hands. So that's a quick overview of everything. I'm going to create a full course that goes into a super deep dive on this. I'm working on that right now. That will be released, and the PushPress team will push that out. But other than that, I'm going to look at the questions and the chat and see if we can go from there. Do you mail samples? Sorry, go ahead, Barry.
I'm gonna say while he's reading some questions, that course that he's referring to, you'll be able to find that inside of the PushStart program that we have. If you haven't signed up for that, it's where you can find all of these webinars that we do recorded and some other coursework. It's just pushstart.pushpress.com, and you can access that.
Okay. First in the chat, Jen McMillan, do you send samples to Canada? Yes. A little more complicated to send stuff to Canada, but people in Canada know this. You can shoot me an email. We could talk about it. Matt@foreverfierce.com. For reference, how many t-shirts would a gym have to sell to make $750 profit? It depends on the design. That's the honest question about how pricing works with us. It's based on the design itself. As I said throughout this whole process, if you've been noticing, I have not said anything about cost because I do not have any design fees, sample fees, pre-order fees, production fees, screen fees, no fees. I give you one price and everything's just real easy for you, but it's based on the design itself. So I'll give you two examples. If you're wearing a shirt like Barry is right now, and it's one ink color, it might only be $9 to $12 a shirt. If you have a shirt that is 3 to 4 ink colors, front and back printing, you're probably looking at $14 to $18 a shirt, and that's pretty fair right now. If you go and quote that out on custom ink, you're going to be paying somewhere in the 20s, and most other vendors in the space will be doing the same. But again, I try and meet you where you're at. And when I build these apparel plans, I try and give you 2 orders where it's going to be unique projects that have 3 to 4 ink colors, something that's a little different, more eye-catching. And then you can tell me, hey, I want to give me 2 orders where I can make a great margin on this. It's a nice little shirt that I can stock that doesn't burn a hole in my pocket. And we can work on that together. But pricing is based on the design itself. And yes, PushPress can be handled through a separate site or the PushPress, your PushPress account. Barry's created a lot of great pre-order just learning modules and ways to get it set up real quick. So if you enjoy doing it through PushPress, you definitely can do that, or I can help you with it. Dale, how to input the pre-order, collect, and deliver the shirts to members seems like it takes much more time than you stated. Are you taking over? Dale, if you shoot me an email, I could show you how to handle as much of this process as you want. My message to gym owners is simply this. I want to be an extension of your team. So if you want me to handle this entire process for you, I will do that. If you only want me to show you the designs and you do the pre-order and you do a lot of the heavy lifting, that's up to you. But my message to you is that I want to take as much of this off your plate as possible. And I just tell people, then I would just tell people like, look, just give us a chance to show you what we can do and take stuff off your plate. And I think you'll be really satisfied with it. But shoot me an email, matt@foreverfierce.com. Estimate, just talked about pricing per shirt. So when it comes to, all right, here's a good question. I'm a drop-in gym. I'm by a military base. By a military base, I'm in a tourist area. What do? I would say we need to do one order where you're just ordering like 5 to 8 per size. And we need to keep track of it, of how we're selling through that and order a lot more intelligently. So I think doing one order, small or minimum order, 24 shirts. Let's see how fast we blow through it. If we go through it quick, then maybe we up the order. But again, we have to start somewhere with these drop-in orders, and stocking the gym with 25 to 30 shirts at a time is manageable. Sometimes I'll have people who are like, yo, give me 144 shirts because that's the lowest price break on stuff. But I'd always rather see you sold out of apparel than overloaded with it. So just know I'm never going to push excess inventory on you. I really don't believe in that. Again, I'd rather be sold out than overloaded. For us, our company, we just handle screen printing right now. The embroidery industry is a little broken post-COVID. So when that gets fixed, we will get back on track with embroidery. Are these costs to me as a gym owner? Jake, if you're talking about the chart we went over, no, that would be your retail cost to members. So your cost, again, it's going to depend on the design itself, but it can be anywhere between $9 to $18 a shirt, depending on what the design is. If you shoot me an email, matt@foreverfierce.com. No, I mean, yeah, okay. Sorry, Jake. Yes, the 9 to 12, that's your cost out the door. There's a small shipping fee, but shipping is only about 75 to 99 cents an item, depending on where you're located. But yeah, that's your cost out the door. So you're making the difference between, call it $10 and $27 a shirt. Uh, Margarita, I have 6 questions. Actually, I have 7 questions I'm going to email you because obviously we just worked on this. So I have 7 questions I can email you that you can sort of run through with the rest of the team and go from there. I'm curious to see how people respond when that order arrives, but there's probably going to be a bunch of people who say, I want one now that I saw it. And it's going to be up to you guys to say, sorry, you need to pre-order it. So let's see how this first order goes. But I do have some questions I will email over to you as soon as I get off the webinar. And Jake, do you have rash guards? No. So when it comes to rash guards, it's always the jujitsu crowd. And it's hard because a lot of that stuff is such technical materials. I would recommend working with a very reputable brand on that. Our jujitsu market's starting to grow, so that might be something we take on in the future. But if I'm being honest, it requires a lot of tinkering and experimenting and feedback from clients. And those experiments typically cost $10,000 to $20,000. So anyways, if we do that, I will reach out. I don't do hats either. Look, when it comes to apparel, I want it to be very straightforward and easy things. Tees, tanks, hoodies, long sleeves. I don't want people getting bogged down on hats, shorts. People get really picky about that stuff. Like a hat isn't a hat. It's high profile, low profile, trucker, snapback, flex fit. It's just like, it's so much stuff where it's like it drives gym owners nuts. If you find someone doing hats, just go with like a very small amount. Go with like a dozen hats. Don't order 48 or 72. They'll sit on a shelf and collect dust. I think that's pretty much it for now. I did leave a bunch of resources in the chat. So I have our Q4 game plan that I just released. It has a discount in there as well. I don't do discounts, but there is a small discount in there. If you're looking just to sort of get started with something affordable and make a great margin on it, you'll hit 100% margin if you follow our advice on that. And then just some other resources in the chat about pre-ordering, marketing guides, and all that stuff. So if you're interested, as always, you can hit me up, matt@foreverfierce.com. And I would love to speak with you and set up a call with you. I will drop my Calendly link in the chat real fast. And again, if you do have any questions, I'm very easy to get a hold of. And I definitely appreciate everyone's time here today. But we'll have that more thorough course. And again, we just want to be a resource for everyone. So whether you work with us or not, just always know you can always reach out to me, pick my brain on stuff, and we will always be here for you. All righty.
Awesome. Thank you, Matt. That was great. If you have any questions, go ahead, shoot them over to us, either to Matt or even to the PushPress team. And, we can do our best to answer some of these as well. But other than that, this recording will be available to refer back to. Have a great day, everybody.
Thanks, guys.